Welcome. Thank you again for watching the first video, where you were able to get an overview of who I am as your instructor and an introduction to the course. Within this video, I will further discuss the what, how, and why relative to the course assessments. Our agenda for this video is to explain the purpose of the course relative to those signature assignments we were introduced to in video 1. Again, the Universal Design for Learning framework informed this course design in order for you to experience what we are also learning about. As I explained in video 1, you will have an opportunity to share with me your beliefs, your values in the initial reflection paper, and also introduce yourself. And each of the assignments, as you'll see, are interrelated. Your initial reflection paper is really connected to where you come from regarding your initial thoughts, feelings, and ideas regarding teaching. And as you matriculate throughout the course, you'll see that you'll have an opportunity to explore those beliefs, values, and ideas that you come into the course with. As you get closer to module 6, you'll see also an opportunity where you will get to reflect on your initial reflection paper relative to assignments within the course that can be then connected to your final reflection papers. For your final paper, you will also have the opportunity to create a first draft of your final reflection paper. The purpose of this first draft is so that you receive feedback from me about how you are approaching the creation of your final teaching reflection, given what you learned in the course. The instructions for the draft final reflection paper include the following. You'll start drafting your final reflection and begin to address the reflection questions below that will be the same for your final reflection paper. Then your instructor, myself, will provide feedback and insights that will help you complete your final reflection paper. Throughout the course, as mentioned before, you will have used journals to explore the content across the modules. You will have engaged in critical reflection and feeling already. So by the time you reach the first draft final reflection paper, throughout the course, you would have been expressing yourself and reflecting using any of the UDL options or those visual representations as we talked about. For your draft, um, for your draft, first draft final reflection paper, you have the option of doing a PowerPoint or any type of other presentation, a brochure, a poster, a collage, an infographic, a video, or a traditional essay. The final reflection is an opportunity to reflect on this initial teaching reflection paper and your learning throughout the course. The purpose of the final reflection is to articulate a vision for your future teaching pedagogy. Pedagogy is the art and science of teaching, and your methodology related to serving all students. The final reflection is worth 50 points. These points will be awarded in two parts. First, you will submit a draft. This draft is worth 20 points. I will provide feedback within 1 week, and you will revise accordingly and submit the final reflection for an additional 30 points. Your final reflection should focus on the questions posed at the beginning of the semester. What values or beliefs do you hold that inform your teaching? Describe your ideal classroom. Who are your students? What does your classroom look like, sound like, or feel like? How do you teach? What strategies do you use? What do you continue to be most concerned about as you think about becoming a teacher? What are you most excited about as you think about becoming a teacher? In what ways has your thinking changed or grown this semester? To write your final reflection, reflect on the readings, the videos, the class discussions, that, not the class discussions, but the your journal reflections that you have written and my feedback. You may want to return to your initial reflection paper and think about how your ideas and skills have grown or changed this semester. In your reflection, you should plan to refer to class materials or discussions, but you do not need to formally reference them per se, like in APA 7, for example. So after having received my feedback for your final reflection paper, you will do what I just talked about, which is revisit those initial questions in your initial reflection paper, and then express yourself either in an essay or in an alternative format that provides additional insight, especially for that last question across all of the questions. In what ways has your thinking changed or grown this semester relative to the above questions? The guidelines for your reflective journals are, for your first one, for example, for Module 1, you will compare and contrast the intersectional disableism, psycho-emotional disableism, social model of disability with the medical model of disability. Within Module 1, you will find, and across your modules, readings, videos, PowerPoints that you can review on your own. And there will be a prompt or a set of questions or one question for each of your reflective journals. And for each of those, you will have the opportunity to express yourself through a format to show understanding, reflection, and critical thinking. These are similar to the initial and final reflection paper that you can show your understanding, reflection, and critical thinking, such as the PowerPoint, a brochure, a video, a one-pager, or an essay. However, there's also what we call a TQC. So a TQC is a thought or thoughts or feelings you had while completing the reading or the viewing or reviewing the PowerPoint, a question you would like to discuss or consider with me, a connection you made between the reading and your experiences in K-12 education. So the overall guidelines for your reflective journals is to further your critical reflexivity regarding the content of the course, in particular to the readings or the text, and for you to express yourself regarding the journal prompt. And below are several ways to write your journal entries through one of those UDL expressions or through the TQC. Expectations are to write 2 to 3 sentences for each of the above components. If you choose to do the TQC, the thought, feeling, question, and connection, a full paragraph is not needed. For each component, you need to include one quote, however, a statement or a claim from the module reading or viewing that supports your thought, feeling, question, and connection. So in addition to your own thought, question, connection, you would want to connect it to a quote or a statement or a claim. It could be paraphrased or directly quoted from the reading or the video or the PowerPoints. So here's an example of the TQC. This comes from a reading of Chapter 3, Clarity, the Four Pivots, by Sean Ginwright. The thought, Ginwright states that careful reflection is needed to truly improve practice. Before reading this chapter, I hadn't considered how intentional reflection needs to be. I need to create time in my schedule to reflect or rethink on the lessons I am teaching and how I am interacting with students. The question or the quote, when we find ourselves in life's dust, storms. Clarity is being able to hold an unobscured vision of what is happening and take the steps you need to get through it. End quote. This quote makes me wonder, how can I work to understand what is happening and not just what I think is happening, so the reflection on my teaching is accurate? So this example provides a question to that provocative quote. This chapter connected to all of the moment-to-moment decisions I see teachers making. Sometimes in the moment, they may not make the right decision, but hopefully through reflecting on those decisions later, teachers can learn and grow in order to do better the next time. So that's an example of the TQC. For the visual representations, you can do a visual representation if you are artistic or want to develop that skill. For the visual representation, again, it should be a minimum of 3 images that connects to the reading, 3 to 5 carefully chosen words that highlight main ideas, and 2 quotes from the reading. Within the modules, again, you will have opportunities to click on the hyperlinks for additional examples of content. And in this example is of the one-pagers. Now to discuss Evaluation 1. For Evaluation 1 on inclusive teaching practices, you will be required to explore and examine a number of teaching strategies to support diverse learners. After exploring these strategies, you will complete an inclusive teaching evaluation on these strategies. Again, you could express yourself in a brochure, a PowerPoint, a video, a one-pager, a TQC, or an essay, or a visual representation. The Evaluation 1 teaching practices includes the following 10 questions. And these questions are really meant for you to be reflexive after reviewing the content and the readings and the viewings of this module, to help you think about your own inclusive teaching practices and those that you will gain access to in the module. Now to discuss Evaluation 2. For Evaluation 2 on preventing and ending bullying, you will explore and examine a number of teaching strategies to support diverse learners who may be experiencing bullying, and ways to explore strategies that can help end bullying. Again, you will have the option of expressing yourself in a variety of ways, such as these. And for this second evaluation, please address the below questions, the questions below that reach out to you, that resonate to you. So for the For evaluation 1, you will do all of these questions. But for evaluation 2, we will model universal design for learning where you have more of a choice. So address at least one question from the 3 required resources, but feel free to address as many as you would like, keeping in mind quality versus quantity. The first video that you will watch is, quote, "To This Day," end quote, "For the Bullied and the Beautiful" by Shane Kolgasan. And here are those questions. And you could pick one or as many as you would like that resonate with you after watching this video. The second material is bullying, what educators can do about it. You are welcomed to answer one or more of the following sets of questions. So for this one, if you can answer one of the sections or more, and answering all 4 for the first one or all 3 for the last 3, that would be great. Lastly, for the evaluation 2, preventing and ending bullying, after viewing the PowerPoint, creating classroom community, please answer the following questions. Revisit your initial entry of your initial paper, reflection paper, and the instructor feedback for the following question in your initial reflection paper. Describe your ideal classroom. Who are your students? What does your classroom look like, sound like? How do you teach? Based on the key concepts or practices from the PowerPoint, creating classroom community, select 1 or 2 key concepts or practices that you would include in your final reflection paper regarding the above initial question or questions. Explain why do you think each of these concepts or teaching practices are important in creating and sustaining a positive learning environment for all. So those are all of the signature assignments through the Universal Design for Learning framework. Gracias and thank you. And I look forward to learning from each of you and learning about each of you and your contexts and growing together. And I hope you really enjoyed the course. Go team.